How to be a person. 1. Find your voice. Know that not all languages contain words. Your voice could be music, it could be dance. It will be what expresses you most sincerely. Your voice is an art. If your heart is broken, make art with the pieces. 2. Remember that you are an artist. Regardless of how constantly the world will try to drive it out of you, or how a real job will try to bury the part of you that communicates your feelings when language fails, you are an artist. Whether it is with food or building robots, you will know your medium the instant you realize how in love you are with what it brings out of you. 3. Apologize. You will not always be right. You will not always be wrong. You will hopefully always be learning. Atonement is a sacrifice of pride. Explanation of why you did what you did or said what you said will not vindicate you. If the cost to heal someone is only your pride, then apologize and be grateful that you received peace at such a bargain. 4. Forgive. Realize that some people are still learning. If forgiveness is not possible, then think of everything you have ever wanted to be forgiven for but weren't. Hold that uneasiness in your mind until you feel your desire for absolution becoming a wish. Realize you can grant this wish for others. If you are waiting for forgiveness, be prepared to wait. Be prepared to stand in the path of time and wither. Respect that forgiveness is difficult. Not all trespasses are equal, and not everyone will heal according to your schedule. 5. Accept that farting is funny. Granted, not always appropriate and sometimes unpleasant, but if you cannot laugh, if you are more offended by a fart than by war, famine, political corruption, deforestation, racism, sexism, classism, the wrongfully imprisoned, the treatment of women, the foreclosing on homes while banks' debts are forgiven, if a fart offends you more than any of that, then you are not a person and cannot be helped. Join a cult. Have some Kool-Aid. 6. Know that love is a vulnerability, but not a weakness. Love is the volunteer in you that raises its hand and steps forward without needing to be rewarded. Love is a currency that functions in reverse because the only way to be wealthy with it is to give more of it away. 7. Don't laugh to fit in. Laughter should be honest. If there is no sincerity in your joy, then your happiness will be a forgery that fools only yourself. 8. Do not fear to be hated, but be cautious towards those inhabited by hate. You will be hated. Regardless of who you are, what you say, or what you do, you will be hated for your successes or your failures, for good looks or bad looks, for intelligence or stupidity. Hate is the child of the hater. Nurtured by the beliefs it has fed, you often will have no control over what you are hated for. Know that antipathy becomes the master of its owner. Know that if you are going to be hated regardless of who you are, then be fearless enough to be who you want to be. Hate is no more eloquently articulated than in the poetry of the expression, "Not your fucking problem." 9. Try. The tiniest dream that you try to make happen is worth more than the biggest dream you never attempt. 10. Be savagely thankful and continuously in awe of the power you possess. You are alive inside of an endless cosmos with a freedom that shines brightest in the dark. Choices. Your choices belong to you so intimately that they will never leave you. They, unlike the changing nature of love or the failing machinery of our bodies, will never abandon you to time. Good or bad, they will stay always, an antique that shows the future who you were and what you stood for. So know that what you choose to stand for is what will inform you of what you've chosen to stand against. So stand. Let each foot crash land into what you believe and plant them there firmly so they may take root in your convictions and stand. There will be bad days. Be calm. Loosen your grip, opening each palm slowly now. Let go. Be confident. Know that now is only a moment, and that if today is as bad as it gets, understand that by tomorrow, today will have ended. Be gracious. Accept each extended hand offered to pull you back from the somewhere you cannot escape. Be diligent. Scrape the gray sky clean. Realize every dark cloud is a smokescreen meant to blind us from the truth. And the truth is, whether we see them or not, the sun and moon are still there, and always there is light. Be forthright, despite your instinct to say it's all right. I'm okay. Be honest. Say how you feel without fear or guilt, without remorse or complexity. Be lucid in your explanation. Be sterling in your repose. If you think for 1 second no one knows what you've been going through, be accepting of the fact that you are wrong, that the long-drawn and heavy breaths of despair have at times been felt by everyone, that pain is part of the human condition, and that alone makes you a legion. We hungry underdogs, we risers with dawn, we dismissers of odds, we blessers of on. We will station ourselves to the calm, we will hold ourselves to the steady. Be ready, player one. Life is going to come at you armed with hard times and tough choices. Your voice is your weapon, your thoughts ammunition. There are no free extra men. Be aware that in the instant now passes, it exists now as then. So be a mirror, reflecting yourself back and remembering the times when you thought all of this was too hard and that you would never make it through. Remember the times you could have pressed quit, but you hit continue. Be forgiving. Living with the burden of anger is not living. Giving your focus to wrath will leave your entire self absent of what you need. Love and hate are beasts, and the one that grows is the one you feed. Be persistent. Be the weed growing through the cracks in the cement. Beautiful. Because it doesn't know it's not supposed to grow there. Be resolute. Declare what you accept as true in a way that envisions the resolve with which you accept it. If you are having a good day, be considerate. A simple smile could be the first aid kit that someone has been looking for. If you believe with absolute honesty that you're doing everything you can, do more. There will be bad days. Times when the world weighs on you for so long it leaves you looking for an easy way out. There will be moments when the drought of joy seems unending. Instances spent pretending that everything's alright when it so clearly is not. Check your blind spot. See that love is still there. Be patient. Every nightmare has a beginning, but every bad day has an end. Ignore what others have called you. I'm calling you friend. Make us comprehend the urgency of your crisis. Silence left to its own devices breeds silence, so speak and be heard. One word after the next, express yourself and put your life into context. You'll find that no one is listening. Be loud. Make noise. Stand in poise and be open. Hope in these situations is not enough, and you will need someone to lean on. In the unlikely event that you have no one, look again. Everyone is blessed with the ability to listen. The deaf will hear you with their eyes. The blind will see you with their hands. Let your heart fill their newsstands. Let them read all about it. Admit to the bad days, the impossible nights. Listen to the insights of those who have been there but have come back. They'll tell you. You can stack misery. You can pack despair. You can even wear your sorrow. But come tomorrow, you must change your clothes. Everyone knows pain. We are not meant to carry it forever. We were never meant to hold it so closely, so be certain in the belief that what pain belongs to now will belong soon to then. That when someone asks you, how was your day? Realize that for some of us, it's the only way we know how to say, be calm. Loosen your grip, opening each palm slowly now. Let go. You can't just do whatever. The words stumbled out of you like a drunk leaving a bar looking for a fresh new last call. You are not a man of words, but did your best to offer advice you offered me. You can't just do whatever. And I know what you meant. You meant that whatever I choose to do, I must not be aimless. I must not simply spin this globe and go wherever I stick my finger, because 71% of the time I will end up in the ocean. And if I do end up in the ocean, I can't just do whatever. I better learn to swim. You can't just do whatever. The conversation came after you asked me about heaven. Told me that you thought heaven would be specific to each person, and that each person would have their own version of it, then asked me what mine would be. I was so scared to tell you. I don't have one. But you nodded your head, as if confirming a suspicion that perhaps school had robbed me of a belief in some stories. You said, you don't have to believe what I believe, it's enough to be good. Be good. I will. I will think about your heaven. Your heaven would be the same haircut forever. It would be a stick, a dog, and some distance, a lawn that always needs mowing, a six-pack of Pilsner short bottles, and your real teeth back. Because your dentures could never master that bottle-opening trick that you love to do. The first time you tried it with dentures, I had nightmares for a month because I thought your mouth had fallen off. Your heaven would be Austria before the war, and Canada after you met Grandma. It would be head cheese sandwiches and blood sausage, other deli meats that would ensure you would never ever have to entertain dinner guests, and I would never be in danger of having my lunch stolen. Your heaven would be a stash of raisins and problems that you could fix with your hands. I remember you tried to fix everything with your hands. I remember the difficult days. I remember the bandages. They looked like tiny blankets, as if your knuckles had all gone off to bed. Walls that looked like they'd said something that got under your skin and were suddenly made to pay for it. I know you were an angry man. Fingertips like spent shotgun shells, bleeding smoke cocktails of gunpowder and singed plastic. You had what some people would call a temper. But you loved a good joke, even if it was on you. Something that would crack open the walls of your chest and let the wind tickle your heart, just enough to let you know it was still there. You didn't always laugh. You didn't always smile. You did keep a mental ledger of what you called your send flowers list. I remember thinking it was a thank you to those who got you good. But learned the truth after my grandmother added a thin layer of sand to your sandwiches because you refused to make your own lunch for work. You told me about it when you picked me up from school that day. You said, Grandma just made the send flowers list. And I asked, because you love her so much? And you said, because I'm gonna kill her. Of course you didn't. Your version of kill meant 2 months before winter, having a seamstress take in each of her coats a few inches, so on the first day she needed one, she fumbled with the sudden tightness, and you stood there smiling and said, Honey, I love you no matter how big you get. she did not laugh, and managed to staple your smile back into a straight face when she told all of your friends at work that she had to move into the spare room because you couldn't stop farting at night. You often asked me, if I had a heaven, what would it be like? And I told you that for such a small word, if, is just too big to wrap my belief around. I would not bend to the hypothetical, but wish now that I would have, even if it was just to ease your mind in the belief that I could be headed to that other place you believed in. I would tell you now how my heaven is here. It was here, in the gentle warfare of your relationship with Grandma, where volleys were traded back and forth like hockey cards between children who didn't care what the stats meant. My heaven would have been someone in grade 5 finally willing to trade me their fruit roll-up for my tin of sardines. My hell was wondering why. Why would you give me sardines for lunch? My heaven would make you laugh. Because I get the feeling you didn't get to do that very much. Through my hell, through the night terrors and bloody noses, through the eyes, black, bruised back, sneak attack, knapsack, and winter coat hijacks, you did your best to seal up the cracks in my armor and made my heaven here. I would have loved to have made you laugh more. To make your send flowers list just once. So I offer you now my if there is a heaven, mine would have a post office, and I could send letters to yours. The first letter would read, "Hell's not so bad. They pretty much let you do whatever."